Today, we're going to break down a skill you use every single day, probably without even realizing it. I'm talking about negotiation. And no, it's not just for big shot corporate boardrooms. It's for buying a car, it's for picking a restaurant with your friends, it's even for deciding who has to take out the trash. So, let's build your personal playbook. You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You walk away from some kind of deal and that little voice in your head just starts nagging at you. I could have gotten a better deal. It's that sinking feeling that you could have paid less or gotten more. It's a totally universal feeling, but you know what? It doesn't have to be your reality. So that's what this is all about. We're giving you a practical, no-nonsense playbook. We're going to break down 10 super powerful tactics that you can literally start using today to get way better outcomes in all those little daily negotiations. All right, first up, let's get into the fun stuff, the psychology. These first few tactics are all about understanding and, well, influencing the conversation that's happening inside the other person's head. It's all about reading the room. Okay, picture this. You get that job offer you've been crossing your fingers for. And the first thing they say is, we'd like to offer you a starting salary of $60,000. And bam, instantly, that number becomes the center of your entire universe. Everything that happens from this point on is going to be compared to 60 grand. This move is called anchoring. See, the very first number that gets mentioned in a negotiation acts like a mental anchor. Your brain just grabs onto it and it becomes the starting point for everything else. So even if you did your research and you know the job is really worth, say, $80,000, that initial $60,000 offer has this gravitational pull that drags your expectations way, way down. So what's the big takeaway here? It's simple. You have to use anchoring to your advantage, and you do that by going first. Whether you're buying, selling, or negotiating a salary, you throw out the first number. Now, it has to be bold, but not crazy, right? If it's absurd, you lose all your credibility. But by setting that first anchor, you frame the entire conversation in your favor. All right, next up, let's say you're trying to buy something and the seller draws a line in the sand. They say, look, I can't go any lower than $500. Now, your move here isn't to argue, it's not to make a counteroffer. You just repeat their last few words right back to them, but as a question. This is called mirroring, and it is so powerful because it's so simple. It almost feels like a Jedi mind trick. When you turn their own statement into a question, it makes them feel heard, and their brain just automatically wants to explain and elaborate. They start justifying why they said what they said, and in the process, they often talk themselves into a better deal for you. They just negotiated against themselves, and all you did was repeat 3 words. Okay, let's talk about a tactic that doesn't even require you to say a word. You're at a flea market, you ask how much something is, and the seller gives you a price that's, well, it's a little high. So before you say anything, you just react. You flinch. Maybe your eyebrows shoot up, you give a little shake of the head. That's it. The flinch works because it communicates total disbelief without being confrontational at all. The other person sees your reaction and they immediately start to question their own offer. They're thinking, oh man, did I go too high? Did I misread this whole situation? So before you've even made a counteroffer, they're already thinking about dropping their price. Now for a technique that actually uses rejection as part of the strategy. It's called the door in the face. So step 1, you make a massive request, something you know they're going to say no to. Step 2, they say no, slamming the metaphorical door in your face. And then step 3, you follow up with your actual, much smaller request. The contrast makes your real goal seem super reasonable, and because they already said no to you once, they kind of feel a little guilty and want to say yes this time. You've definitely seen this one in the movies. The bad cop comes in, they're harsh, they make these crazy demands. Then the good cop swoops in, and they seem like your best friend, right? They make the bad cop look like a monster, so you feel this huge sense of relief when the good cop gives you a better deal. The trick is to just remember, they're on the same team. The good cop is not your friend. They're working together to get you to agree. All right, let's shift gears. This next set of tactics is all about controlling the pace and the power dynamics of the negotiation itself. We're going to talk about leverage, pressure, and knowing when the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. This one might be my favorite just because it takes so much self-control. After they make their offer or they name their price, you just stop talking. You go completely silent. You just wait. For most people, that silence feels incredibly uncomfortable. Seriously, just 10 seconds of dead air feels like an eternity in a conversation. And that discomfort, it creates enormous pressure. The other person's brain just scrambles to fill that void. And to do that, they'll often start talking again, revising their offer, giving things away without you even asking. silence is your secret weapon. Okay, I need you to lean in for this one because it is the single most important concept in all of negotiation. It's your BATNA. That stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. Or to put it simply, it's your walkaway plan. It's what you will do if you stand up from the table and leave. This is the source of all your power. And this really says it all. If you have a strong BATNA, like another job offer in your back pocket or another car you're ready to buy, you have power. You have confidence. You don't need this deal. But if you don't have a BATNA, you're negotiating from a place of weakness, maybe even desperation. And trust me, the other side can smell it. Your power is directly tied to how good your plan B is. The ultimatum. This is a high-risk power move. This is the classic take it or leave it moment. It's designed to cut through all the back and forth and force a quick decision. But here is the unbreakable rule. You should only ever use an ultimatum if you are 100% prepared to walk away if they say no. If you're bluffing and they call you on it, you've lost everything. All right, let's bring it on home. Our final section is all about the end game. These are the critical little moves you make at the very end to close the deal on the absolute best terms you can get. Okay, so the main negotiation is over. You've agreed on the big stuff, like the price. Everyone is mentally shaking hands. Then, right at the very end, you ask for one more tiny little thing. Great, could you just throw in free delivery? That's called the nibble. The other person has already invested so much time and energy. They're not going to let the whole deal fall apart over something small. They'll usually just say yes to get it over with. And this right here, this is the golden rule. Never, ever give a concession without getting something in return. If they ask for a lower price, your answer should always be something like, okay, I can work with you on that if you can do this for me. This turns the whole thing from a one-way street of you just giving things away into a proper two-way exchange. It keeps the deal balanced. So let's do a quick recap of the biggest takeaways. Number 1, always know your BATNA. It is your ultimate source of power. Number 2, go first. Set that anchor and control the conversation. 3, remember that silence is your secret weapon. And finally, number 4, never just give a concession. Always, always trade it. So there you have it. The playbook is officially in your hands. You now know the psychological tactics that shape pretty much every single negotiation you'll ever have. So the only question left is, which one are you going to use first?